So today I'm going to show you how to install Proxmox on the Raspberry Pi 5. First of all, I have to say I'm not an expert. You have to do this at your own risk. It may be dangerous setting up Proxmox on the Raspberry Pi 5 like that. Keep that in mind. So this installation is going to be useful for you if you only want to use Wi-Fi. If you don't want to use Ethernet because you maybe can't get an Ethernet cable to your Pi, to your location. So now we're going to start basically like installing it through this guide, which you can use if you only want to connect it with the Ethernet port. So we're going to start by opening up the Raspberry Pi Imager. Then we are going to connect our SD card, or I would recommend using an SSD. So in my case I'm going to use an SSD. So we're going to select Raspberry Pi 5 and we have to use SD base system. We have to use this Raspberry Pi Lite OS 64-bit. Use this bookworm edition. And then select the SD card, or in my case the SSD. Next, and now you want to set the pre-configured settings. So you want to set username, password, Wi-Fi, and your Wi-Fi location, very important. Here the settings for your keyboard, and you want to activate SSH. Then you have to hit yes, and now again yes. So now it's gonna flash the Raspberry Pi OS Lite onto your SSD. And if you don't know how to use boot from the SSD, you can easily look that up. Basically, it's just using an micro SD card with a script that lets the Raspberry Pi 5 boot from the SSD. Now that it's done, you can unplug your SSD and connect it to the Raspberry Pi 5 through USB, and then put power to it. After waiting for 2 minutes, the Raspberry Pi is fully started. Now you need to find out its local IP address. So you can do that in a lot of different ways. I used like a phone app to scan my network and then see the IP address. So now we need to connect via SSH to it. So I'm going to use PuTTY, and I'm going to connect to 192.168.178, and it's 138 in my case. Now you have to accept, and then you log in with your credentials that you assigned in the Raspberry Pi Imager. And yeah, now we're connected like every other Raspberry Pi setup. So now we're just gonna follow basically the guide for a while. And yeah, I put the link in the description. I also made this little sheet. Has a little bit of German on it, but it shows all the commands I'm going to type. So yeah, now I'm going to install this. So now you're going to set your host IP that you're later gonna go to the root Proxmox site. So I'm going to set it as my IP right now. I would recommend you to do as well, but maybe you can change it later. If you change the static IP, then just change this line here in hosts. So save, Control O, Control X, and we continue. Okay. So now we are up to the step where we install if up down 2, and now begins the interesting part, because now we need to set up the Wi-Fi. But first let's do this. I don't really think it does anything, but tutorial says so. So now we come to this part and I'm gonna do that and delete everything that's in here, especially the network configuration. And now you're gonna use this configuration, which only sets up the Wi-Fi, but I'm gonna use in my case this as my IP address. And also you have to put your SSID and PSK, and yeah, I'm going to do that. So after you put this into the interfaces file and put your Wi-Fi ID and your password here, then you can sudo reboot, and now it should come back online. If not, then you should try a different IP, or maybe again try to remove IP addresses from your router, because it's problem with static IP, I guess. In my case it worked so far. Yes. So we got here. So we have the IP address that I set right now, and stayed up. That means it's online. If you don't have this, you don't have a IPv4 address right here, then it's not working. And maybe you can also test this if you can't SSH into it, if you have an HDMI adapter and use it as at a screen, and then test it to figure out the problem. So now we're gonna activate IP4 wording. So we have to do these commands. So first I will check, so IP4 forwarding is not activated, then go into this file and just uncomment this line, IP4 forwarding activated, and then restart it like that, or you can reboot it. I'm not going to do that right now. So I'm going to do this again, and now change it to my whole configuration with the bridge that you're going to need for Proxmox. So just come down here and add in that bridge, and you have to specify your local subnet. Basically, this is basically a subnet, so you can see right here I have different IP than I have up for my normal home net. This is my IP address for my normal local home address, and this is the subnet that I defined, and the bridge is at 100. And you have to use the ETH0 adapter, the Ethernet adapter on the Raspberry Pi as the bridge, otherwise you can't use this, I guess. I have to give shoutouts to here these people. They basically did it all a little bit differently, but this is what worked for me, so I'm going to show you what worked for me. And yeah, you have to use NAT to route basically from the subnet, because we are using WLAN, and WLAN isn't designed to have this network bridge, but like that it's going to work, I think. So let's do that, and then let's reboot. And then hope everything still works and you can still SSH into your IP. Perfect, so it worked for me. Now I can log in again and we can continue. So now this is the important part, so that's done. Now we can check if we can ping through the bridge, which is number 4. If we can ping my home router. So let's do that, and yeah, it works. You can see here has connection. So now we need to, so now we can access through the bridge into the homenet, but we need to exit it also the other way around. So we can't exit the subnet right now through my PC right here, because we need to add a route in our router in order to do that. So now you want to go to your router, and you want to now you want to go to your router and basically go network settings, IP4 routes at the bottom, and then you're at this screen. So now you create new IP4 route, and you're going to put basically these settings. So network is going to be 192.168.1.0, so 0, and then you want to put your subnet mask and your gateway. So your gateway is going to be 192.168.178.138. So here the IP of the Raspberry Pi, and subnet is this, and you have to activate it. So now you can access through your normal PC, so your home network, into the subnet. This is the subnet and this is the normal network at this gateway. So now we click check. So go right here and now test if you can access the bridge. This is the bridge IP on the subnet. And yeah, like you can see, I can access the bridge on the subnet. Okay, so now we can go outside of the Raspberry subnet bridge and inside, and yeah, everything works like that. So we continue. Now you have to check if also the DNS is set up correctly, which in this case it isn't, so you can check also this one, which works, but google.com cannot disclose the name. So you have to add name server Google or any other name server to this file right here. You have to use sudo commands to change this, and yeah, then you can add the name server and try again. Yeah, now it works. You can now access google.com. So that is important if you want to download anything like templates or any container, LXC container templates. Later you need to have DNS correctly set up. So now we're just going to continue the guide and install everything until Docker is up and running. So now you are asked to configure postfix. It's basically a mail server, but I don't need that, so I'm gonna click locally, okay, and yeah, just gonna continue installing. So now you're getting asked if you want to use default configuration, just hit enter. Now we're done. Now you can go to the IP address you always used, in my case 38, and then put 8000, port 8006 at the end. Just go to this, just continue. Now put root name, root, password, use set area. Okay. Now you can create your first LXC container. So go to templates, click templates, search for Debian. I'm going to use the newest one. Now if it says it cannot find the server, then you haven't set up your name server right, your DNS server. So download it pretty quickly. Can click out of it. Now go to create CT. You know, you have to set a password for it. And host name, I'm going to call it test Debian. And next, template, just this one. Storage, okay, you can adjust this one. Yeah, you can put yeah, maybe like that. Now this is very important, don't click anything right here, otherwise it's not going to work. Only disconnect the firewall, but don't set up anything here, otherwise you will get error and it won't be created the container. So click finish, and if you don't get an error right now and it gets created right here, then everything is fine. Okay, so created. Now we can click it. Don't change anything in the network, should work fine, should use the VM bridge, but name it ETH0. So click start. And yeah, there we go. Go in with your password you just set and root user. Now you're into root mode, so now we need to set up internet. So we cannot access anything right now, so nothing will work. Yeah, so now we need to continue and set up temporary connection, which we basically will do right here. So just type in these commands. Yeah, no, I can type them all at once, but basically we're going to set up the ETH0 connection at an IP route here to our bridge, which is at 100. So now the IP, now we should be able to ping the home net, basically out of the subnet into the home net. So I'm going to try that. I'm going to ping my router, and yeah, works. So basically I can access right now also this PC or any other device in my home network. Now if I try ping 8888, I can also do that, but I can't go Google. Oh, I can. Okay, so everything works so far, and now we just upgrade and so now we need to install if up down as network control or any other network controller, but I'm going to use the same as I use in my host system. So here in this host system on the Raspberry Pi we also used if up down 2, so we are going to use it here again and set it up like that, but I don't know how to really use Vim in the browser, so I'm going to just install Nano. And now we are going to edit again the interface file for if up to down 2. So just delete that and then copy everything inside. And now just do a reboot. Log in again. And now ping Google. And yeah, it works. So now we can access the internet, and I can also show you that the other way around works due to our static route in the IP router. So now we assigned the new VM, we assigned it the IP 101. So now we can go ping, and yeah, you can see we can access into the subnet and onto the VM. So yeah, that's it. Now you can use and set up this Debian like you want. Everything works so far. The Wi-Fi connection isn't very fast and I don't think it's very secure, but yeah, that's how I would set it up. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.